Yes. Thank you very much for reminding me. That's been recorded. Yeah. But I was just telling you this critical aspect, um, the growth rates of Sri Lankan economy. Economy is analyzed and divided into three parts: agriculture, industrial section, and service. So this is our international economic performance, country's economic performance is given. So it is very hard for any economy because economic activities are not quick. Exceptional item comes in and goes out. They are connected to smooth process. Maybe agriculture, manufacturing, services. Even though the corona affected, it is unlikely that there would be a quick boom in the quarter three, because even if you double your capacity, because this is not something that we work within a factory. So as far as the production is concerned, if the production is cesses or halt due to corona, maybe agriculture, farming, or all those things, if you restart, would there be such a growth? Can it be? Can you double it? Even if you bring the operation back to normal, it is highly unlikely. Even in manufacturing, industrial sector, even services, banking, financial services, and all these, if you did not service or provide the service for 2 months or 3 months, now if you start, can you provide the services for the foregone period? It is unlikely. You can't do this thing. Only thing what you can do is you can turn around, bounce back. It is not something that you increase or double or triple your capacity and bring more value. If you do not bring such value into the economy, it is unlikely that you can have such a positive growth in the third quarter. It is unlikely. There may be some cases, maybe import export, some uh, due to logistics restrictions, arranged shipments may have been uh, uh, increased, but it can't be that much. If you simply analyze from quarter one to great extent, based on actually no number in this world, especially when it comes to growth and performance, is going to be perfect. Lots of um, weaknesses, flaws may be there. But we assume that based on the materiality concept, they are not material. Therefore, we can believe that the quarter one result was negative, maybe due to wrong economic policies, bad management, inability to attract investment, that and this, because Corona did not affect. Even without Corona, it was negative. So second quarter was, of course, affected by Corona pandemic. But due to some other reason, government did not want to reveal these numbers. The first quarter also negative, second quarter somehow a negative value. But due to some other reason, government did not want to reveal the truth. That is why they did not release the second quarter until December. It is not ethical to hold information until that time. So, however, finally they released the numbers in December. So when you release the number in December, right, the last quarter, the quarter number three, right? What they are most interested in this analysis is not the other quarters, but the quarter three. So how are you going to show a better result in quarter three? Just putting everything back or loading all these rubbish into quarter two, because quarter two, the cutoff numbers had not been taken in the analysis. Quarter two cutoff numbers had not been taken in the analysis. So as a result, they had the freedom to manipulate only one number. First quarter was 1.6 minus. Then we have the certain growth rate. I'll just work it out and show you what the real growth rate is. They knew it, but they did not want to show it. Instead, they put the blame into quarter two, and quarter three was replenished, rearranged, represented in a or dressed with a nice decorations. This is what we call in accounting or information processing or financial reporting as window dressing. Window dressing. You dress your window. What is the window here is the quarter 3. This is what you look at because this is the current quarter. All the rubbish is hidden in quarter 2. No one is going to analyze and talk about quarter 2 now. Maybe the intention, these are interpretation. Intention of the government was to say that yes, due to coronavirus, as you all just analyzed and apparently understood, yes, we could not do this thing. It was 16.3 minus. Now, due to our correct policies, we were able to bounce it back and we were able to record 1.5 positive growth. So under what circumstances? So you show, I mean, it shows such a huge increase. It is impossible, unlikely. Even if it is possible, on the other hand, as a management accountant or a critical thinker, you should question if government operations fluctuate like this within a short period of time, 3 months time, what we call high volatility. First quarter 1.6 minus, second quarter 16.3, again 1.5, high volatility. So if it is highly volatile, investors would be really afraid of coming to Sri Lanka. But that's not the reality. It is not that highly volatile. Reality is something else. If you take these three numbers, 1.6 plus 16.3 plus positive 1.5, how much is the answer? I can show. So this is minus 1.6. I hope that you can see 16.3. This is also minus. And final one is plus. If you take the average of these three, the quarterly average, if you take the quarterly average, it is, you can calculate it here. Quarterly average is almost minus 5.5. Minus 5.5. Actually, situation could have been in the second quarter, little bit, maybe 6, 7, 8 something. But the third quarter also really a minus figure. Instead of showing a minus figure, they showed a plus figure. At the end of the day, average growth, quarterly growth is 5.5, which is pretty much similar to the predicted rate by IMF, World Bank, and ADB. You see? So therefore, it is more likely that maybe the last quarter, even in the last quarter, that is quarter number 4, if the government is not going to generate any growth, even the growth is 0, so government would be pretty much in a comfortable place with this forecast of IMF, World Bank. It would be roughly around minus 4%. Even if they do negative in fourth quarter, their situation would be much better. But they did not want to lose the face by showing a negative result in the quarter 3. So that could be the sole motive of these numbers and the holding these numbers. So therefore, I just urge you to look at always, first you take the apparent information, look at information from critical perspective. In order to do this thing, you need to have other information as well. Generally, you need to have interrogatory mindset, susceptibility of questioning. Can it happen? Or why is that something? Actually, why I just through this question, this is connected pretty much to one of your accounting subject area, that is window dressing practices and income smoothing practices, income manipulation practices. This is nothing else, exactly income manipulation. When you study financial statement analysis, you would come up, if you come across this kind of situation, you can analyze return on net operating asset. If the return on net operating assets fluctuates like this, it implies, we not conclude categorically there is a manipulation, but we can imply that there had been a manipulation. Here also, by looking at these numbers, first thing that came to my mind was, yes, there could be a manipulation. Then I analyzed and I calculated like this, came out with this magic number, that is minus 5.5, which is similar to the predicted number. Simply speaking, throughout this period, government is experiencing 5.5. But that is not something that the government should be blamed, because it is accepted. So due to the impact of COVID, but government did not want to show this, admit the fact that there is. So they wanted to exaggerate their efforts, because at the same time, lots of political issues are there. People are protesting against the deforestation, some government policies, part of the harbor is also being sold, and agreement has been signed. Likewise, politically, the political incidents are there which are not favorable for the general public. So this would be a kind of strategy to show them that no worries, the government is on the right track, or to take the eyes off the. Okay. So likewise, think of information. That is why I just wanted to take this number and have a discussion. Had we been together, our discussion would have been like expanded further. But anyway, if you have any concern or any thing which is not clear, or things to be clarified, or thing if you do not agree with me, you can ask now before moving on to next. Is that clear, Anjana?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
then
you.
what you can do is you can combine your information with this and have a comprehensive critical analysis. So here in after, for all the analysis, it is always it's always good to look at from different perspectives. Okay, we'll move on. Now, management accounting. Actually, rest of the things are straightforward. So I just told you, accounting is simply dealing with information. Therefore, traditionally, management accounting, we use information to manage operations within the organization. Therefore, to great extent, 1 minute, I'll just put it, okay, slideshow. Do you see the slideshow now? Oh, no, sharing screen. Do you see my screen? Uh, that is okay. Now, yeah, okay. Okay, okay. Um, right now it is seen, I hope. Now, okay, good. Right. Management accounting, so basically involves with the operation within the organization, this acquisition of raw materials, production processes, storing them, logistic management, selling them, marketing, research and development, cash collection, so many things, HR, dealing with the environment, society, compliance, like that. So many operations are there. Who involved with these operations, who get interacted with these operations are none other than employees, including managers. So because of that reason, we tend to traditionally, from the traditional perspective, we say that management accounting deals with these information provisions within the people or the stakeholders or internal stakeholders. It is partially true. It is partially true. But to great extent, yes, because many use. So it means that even though management accounting information is mainly used by internal stakeholders, even external stakeholders can also use this information. From the traditional viewpoint, this is not seen that much. Why? We always talk about competitiveness, individualistic thinking. Now the world is changing. Later I will discuss how the global business setup is changing. Even though you compete with others nowadays within a global economy, you try to inclinch or link to global supply chains. And within global supply chains, on one hand, you compete with others within those industries. At the same time, you cooperate with others. Cohabitation. I will discuss this later. So that is the reason why you can't confine management accounting information into organization. But as a fact, maybe written literature, if you go through lots of textbooks, this is what you see. But it's all right. But if you want to critically analyze, now you can say that no, management accounting now really crosses its boundaries to address others. Social organization, society, environment, and other stakeholders, we provide information sharing. To great extent, that is possible nowadays because of supply chain, globalization, and cohabitation, and integrated what do you call supply chain, and yeah, to some, yeah, integrated supply chains and all those things. So as a result, and to great extent, the IT, common information sharing platforms. So just think of cryptocurrencies and other things. So in future, it would, if it is going to be successful, so no one can play hidden games within cryptocurrencies. Information must be freely available to everyone. Trust has to be protected, and decisions are taken purely on information available, best information. Right. Now, differences. Actually, I can even skip this slide. um, um, Maybe in financial accounting we can discuss, but since that is there, sometimes as far as learning outcomes and objectives are concerned, there is a chance that some of these aspects may be tested in your examination. Therefore, it is good to know some differences between management accounting. And again, I emphasize the fact that these differences are also from the traditional point of view. Other than this, there are some other differences. Apart from those differences, there are similarities as well. Focus user group, that is why traditionally we divide. Mainly, you can say that financial accounting just mainly look at the external stakeholders, but it does not limit the internal stakeholders accessing the information. No, it's not. The purpose is general users. In a way, if you can say external stakeholders, we can say that focus is general user groups. Management accounting, of course, instead of saying internal stakeholders, it is nothing wrong if you write this thing as an exam answer to the examination, we'll accept it, internal, external. But rather, first one is not external, they are general. Second one, not internal, but specific. But specific. Because management information cannot be generally made available. For example, as far as the production manager is concerned, so that particular department of the manager is highly concerned about the cost calculation, different types of costs, transfer pricing, life cycle costs, and so many things, and the impact of foreign exchange rates, so many things. So then, so your information calculation should be in that way. But if you calculate some other information for a marketing plan, product pricing plan, then you need to take into account even consumer behavior, pattern, demand, elasticity, foreign exchange, even so many other things. So therefore, the report that is prepared for the production manager purpose, the purposes may not be suitable for the marketing manager or any other logistic arrangements, any other. If there is another manager, so you are going for a strategic alliance with another, you are going to talk about global supply chain management, or maybe you are going to sign a contract for hedge. So in future, these high risks are there. How are we going to minimize these risks? So simply you have to understand the fact that these internal, so it is better to say that specific user groups. Nature of the information, of course, to great extent. All these things are not highly limited or confined to great extent. Financial accounting, actually, some of the points, even though we teach or there, I do not fully agree. To great extent, historical information, of course, financial information, actually non-financial information is also there in financial accounting. If you take an annual report, financial information maybe they or maybe 20%. Lots of non-financial information is available in financial accounting because non-financial information is needed. But here, emphasis is given their obligations, responsibilities are there to deal with financial information and to provide historical information. They are not going to forecast. That is the reason. Because you can't account, you can't recognize income and the expenses on forecasting. The forecasts are there, like on anticipation. Based on forecast, then you have historical or present things. But in the case of as against this management accounting, more elaborations are there. Apart from this, so they take into account the information from financial accounting, historical, financial, and non-financial, other areas, environmental, impact of technology, even as I just told you, government policy decision, politics, all those things. All those things. So nowadays, companies may be concerned about the tax policies given in the recent budget, how they influence your business and all these things. You got it? So that is the nature. And the reporting entity, so we report, since this is general, we give a general picture. That is why whole organization. Since this is specific, we have define, identify, identifiable units. It could be a department, individual, profitability center, company, branch, likewise, so on and so forth. Frequency also, when it comes to management accounting, you have to prepare information then and there when the necessity arises. That is why we call on demand. On demand, we must be able to prepare. And here, there is no such on-demand reports, simply compliance. You know the reason. Basically, in big corporations, owners become outsiders. As a result, they need to know about the organization, what is going on in this quarter, last quarter, this year, last year, what is going to happen in next year. So that is why periodical reporting is important, because the periodical reporting reveals the performance of that period and it adds to the trend what is happening. If you recall the previous numbers I gave you, quarter 1, 2, 3. So quarter, so if you like quarterly performance are not given to you, you do not know what was happening. That is why you didn't know what happened in the second quarter. That was not presented by that time. Had it been presented by that time, that wasn't the number 16.3. It should have been totally different number, because they have to apply a cutoff date and take the numbers. They couldn't take simply 16.3 in order to manipulate quarter number 3, because they didn't know. By that time, had they presented, to great extent, actual number should have been taken. Quarter 3, they have taken actual number from quarter 1 to 3. Then they decided quarter 3, rest was put into quarter. So since that was not presented, we were in the darkness. We didn't know what was happening. Even now, when we have a look and analysis, there's no trend to fluctuation, high volatility is there. So nevertheless, no matter when it is reported, periodical information might help these general users to take decisions. No matter whether, like, who takes decision with respect to these government numbers, general public. No, we do not know whether they take decisions or not. Format, this is one of the bottlenecks, or the barrier in accounting, or the information processing. To great extent, we use standardized reports. Yes. Oh, hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Yeah. Hurry up. So sorry for the disturbance. Actually, just I just happened to talk to our dean sir, so just came here to take some information. Okay, no worries. What I was just telling you, uh, these basic things. My advice is better not to by heart what is there word by word. No, try to grasp the essence as I just told you. What is it? What is it? Just have a free interpretative mindset. Then you would be fine. And any platform, any place, for any examination, you can freely write answers. As I just told you, since that is a general financial accounting is general reporting, in a way, it is good for preparers and users to have standard formats. That is the reason. It does not mean that we have to report this thing in the standard formats. Having standard formats, we can minimize the variability in information. That is the thing. Because we are catering to a large number of groups. So management accounting, so still if you want you can have standard formats, for example NPV calculations or budget calculation likewise, but you can customize them according to your requirement. There is no hard and fast rule that you must prepare. When it comes to financial accounting, hard and fast rules are there to great extent. Why? To preserve the public interest. When stakeholders are, especially including shareholders, when they are outside of the operations, they do not know what is happening inside the organization. In order to protect their interest, if I have invested money in a business, I become a shareholder, but I'm going to be an outsider of the business. I don't know. So therefore, it is the obligation of the authority and the regulatory bodies to direct organization and force organization, hey guys, prepare the reports and show the profits and all these things according to this format. Then you stakeholders would be fine. That is one of the standards: income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. That's how and why these things have been given in standardized forms. So again, the legal requirement is there in the financial accounting, management accounting. Then there is no legal requirement, but there are some. For example, but legally you are not bound, except in few cases. Some management reports may be legal. For example, environmental compliance report, you have to give it. Otherwise, your production license may not be given. That's why some of these definitions, that's why I just told you I do not agree fully. This is a traditional classification. Present day classification have changed them. Legal requirement may be there. Then applicable standards. Of course, you can say that accounting standards are there here. Such generally controlled standards are not there, but your own standards within the organization, within the industry can be used. Okay. And someone raised the hand. Yeah, if you have any question, please ask. Please stop me and ask. Right. I skip this one. This is nothing but general management decision making process. Actually, this is applicable for any decision. If you think of your day-to-day activities, this is um, applicable. Just you want to construct a house, you want to buy a car, you want to marry, right? You want to go like somewhere for a vacation. You do all these things, right? So identify your objective. What is your objective? Construct a building, buy a car, marry, search for alternative course of actions. Then in what way you can do this? If you are just fallen in love with someone, of course, yes, you're going to marry. Otherwise, if you just want to marry, you think of many. So who is going to be suitable for me? So this one, that one, likewise, alternative. So buying a car, so you search for information for all the alternatives. So it is easy to understand this kind of thing from a general example rather than looking at management or management accounting. Actually, management accounting has borrowed this. So first part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is again categorized group into a subcategory called planning. We plan for it. Then we collect data. Sometimes all those things happen quickly. Objective, alternative, data collection, self-select alternative courses of action, even implement decision. What we call this thing, organism and algorithms in your brain process. Being human being, we are organism, right? We are organism. Human beings are organism. So we take a quick decisions. We plan for it. We plan to go somewhere else. So even though they are separately identified, sometimes they happen quickly in a matter of seconds. But when it comes to management accounting, we need to clearly define them and separate them, and responsibilities should be aligned and assigned. So that is why we put this process. Need not to buy up. Try to understand. Then once you have taken the decision, you need to, in the management accounting processes, assume that you decided to manufacture particular product by using certain raw materials with the calculation total cost of 500 rupees. When the production process goes on, you need to review and calculate the actuals and deviations. All those things should be done. If there are any deviations, you need to review the plan. Actually, this is a general management decision making process. I would like to talk a little bit about this changing competitive environment. I would like to call this thing as a changing environment. Oh, environment, not the natural environment. A surrounding, your ambience, that is the environment. Okay. When any entity, now I just go back to the profit motive organization, manufacturing organization. When you manufacture a particular product, what is your environment? Your environment is everything. Your employees, right, are part of your environment, right? And your consumers are part of your environment. Legal compliances, part of your environment. Society, part of your environment. Customers, part of environment. Natural resources, environment. Biodiversity, your environment. Legal platforms, your environment. Technological development, breakthroughs in science, and all this, environment. Okay, so therefore, when we learn about the environment, there shouldn't be any limitation. You better think freely and list them down, jot them down. Sometime environment surrounded by an organization would be different from the environment that humans interact with. So nevertheless, it is environment including the natural environment. So sometimes we might mistakenly understand this environment. When you say environment, it goes to natural environment. Natural environment is only one part. Apart from all these environmental factors, I would like to highlight only very few. The number one is the information technology. I will just explain it later on, because it is a fact. Information technology, breakthroughs in science simply alters the courses of action. What is production processes, how production takes place, because information technology can quickly change the landscape of the production process. That is why information technology has become so important. Science and technology. And the other things of product life cycles and all these things, so you can study separately and understand. The major areas, information technology. The other major area is environmental aspect, natural environment. Why? Because of the short-term profit motive orientations of the corporations or the greedy managers or greedy humans, they simply disregard the sustainability of the environment, forests, natural resources. Therefore, as of now, natural resources and environmental like aspects, biodiversity, face huge threats due to decisions taken by handful greedy managers of corporation. Therefore, it is another area. The other area is this the competition. So if you compete too much, the of course competition has not generated better results for us as Adam Smith predicted or suggested. Instead, oligarchies and monopolies have created. So therefore, now there are discussions around the world how best this competition is going to be arranged through coordination, integration, and supply chain management cohabitation. So therefore, competition also takes a different aspects. It is not simply the alternative traditional aspects highlighted by Michael Porter. But in some subjects, you can bring it, still you can argue. But if you look at the real situation, operations, where corporate or the organizations manufacture or produce goods and services, so things are slowly changing or shifting away from the traditional thinking. Unless you embrace all these things, there wouldn't be a survival. As a result, the finally within this uh, setup, global setup, the mode of organization are also changing. Traditionally, mode of organization is investors are there, they put the money into the business, they become shareholders. I have money, I have my capital in the business, I hire employees, you work, I hire managers, you manufacture goods and sell them, profit is generated, value is created. I give peanuts to all those who contributed for the value. I take a big chunk in terms of related party transactions or dividends or whatever managers perks and high benefits. This is the traditional model. Against this traditional model, now you better study on your own what are the alternatives in the world. Many alternatives are there: team approach, cohabitation, and especially in Japan, China, and those countries, this team work and global supply chain and the cohabitation. And another new approach is what you call circular economy, supply chain within a circular economy. We compete on one hand, but at the same time, we are connected to each other. We do not try to bypass any stakeholder. We do not try to deceive others. We do not try to cheat others. Right? Very open-minded. So to help this thing, technology comes in. Technology provides lots of facilities, helps us. If you want, you can do this thing. That is the trend. I'm just telling you the trend, but we have never thought of this. Huh? Still, we are thinking the other way. We are going back and becoming or skewing within our own shell and try to maximize your own interest. So therefore, what I'm saying, so if it is going to be a reality for Sri Lankan, that is for ahead maybe in another 100 years or 200 years. I do not know. So this is the situation. Among them, I would like to ask you to study two different types of alternative environments or the mode of organization. One is called worker corps. Worker corps. It's not cooperative, new form of organization where employees take charge in management, take charge in operations in a collaborative manner together with shareholders. That's called worker corps. Employees become owners to a great extent. We have some other substitute for this thing in Sri Lankan context as well. You may have seen employee share ownership scheme is someone similar like some kind of evidence that employees also get involved with ownership and something like, but not purely the concept that I told you, worker corp. That is number one. Another interesting organization is there in the world that is located in Spain. This organization shows all these characteristics within this competitive environment and new world order, how best goods and services can be produced efficiently at the lowest cost. The name of that organization is the Mondragon. You can check it in the internet. That is a Spanish company started with 7 employees by one of the Catholic priest. With base, so you better learn, you better study, and it has grown up to a large, huge multinational conglomerate nowadays with almost 90,000 employees. They have everything and done operations. So the operations are carried out in such a manner or sustainable manner. Yeah, these things are coming from technology. Therefore, I will skip. Right. These are very micro level aspects of competitive environment. So making customer satisfaction and overriding priority. So we say that so we need to give the priority for customers. So actually these are in a way two traditional concepts and not new concepts and new management approaches also. What I just told you are really new things in the world. So still we have not thought of. We need to really, if you want to sustain, we need to think of and manufacturing system. So especially this manufacturing system, we need to worry about the waste management. So that is why the circular economy becomes very important. In a circular economy, nothing would be waste. So waste of one industry becomes an input of another industry. So this is the new system. But it is very difficult to achieve these objectives as long as if you think about the production, profit, society from the individual's perspective. We need to think from a holistic point of view. We need to think from a societal point of view, collective perspective. Then only we can do this thing. Otherwise, these things are simply dreams, just only names. And you can write these things as answers in the examination. We never realize. And even advanced manufacturing. So these things have been implemented by countries 2 3 decades ago. So still we are struggling. We have never touched these areas. Then already I talked about the impact of IT. One thing I forgot to talk about within impact of IT, it is a fact that, as I just told you, you can understand that. So whatever the things, irrespective of your operation, IT is there. Even your healthcare, education, even now, just see how IT has impacted. If it were not IT development, we wouldn't have done these lectures by using Zoom or any other thing. So IT has become a common platform, what we call cross-cutting, the element to facilitate everything, farming, maybe other manufacturing, service, education, healthcare. IT is doing a tremendous job in healthcare. So nowadays, so maybe even in future, in 10 15 years time, so you need not to worry about if that is done from a collective perspective. So every day once you wake up and once you go to the washroom and toilets, so your health card can be taken from the toilet bowl. So likewise, so it would be possible if the facilities can be arranged in that way. So every day you know that your the health report or the card would be generated once you use toilet. Therefore, you can take the next course of action. Remedies can be taken. So this is how the level, the scope is unlimited. Uh, how best we are going to use is the biggest challenge. Okay, so could you please just so what is asked about the alternative modes of organization? Mm, so generally known alternative modes are the teamworks, cohabitation, and the global supply chain. They are generally known and already been practiced in many countries except us. Even teamwork is not seen here, to be honest. Name like in how to say nominally it is there but not practical. Apart from these three, I just suggested you name two forms, that is worker co-ops, that is employees become owners, and this Mondragon. So actually that the Mondragon is also employee supported institutional, that is a very specific organization within the concept of worker co-ops. The new form of organization which is seen very like not in large scale in few places in Europe is the worker co-ops. Even we have not opened up a discussion. We are not aware of these things, right? So IT, apart from the specific IT developments in specific fields, as I just told you, there is another common use, that is information sharing. Information sharing, that is what is not happening as of now. That is why information asymmetry is seen whenever you try to buy a particular product. You do not know how it was manufactured, what cost involved, how much is the cost, how much is the profit. You don't know, but you pay a price, maybe due to your specific need for that particular product. Or you may have to buy this thing because of your emotions. You love this product and you are driven by emotions. New car comes into the market, new mobile phone comes, any other fashion. Therefore, your emotions override your rational thinking and you may buy simply disregarding the cost, simply disregarding other social aspects, how it has been manufactured. Get it? So in an ethical world, highly developed world, civilized world, this information should be shared. How the product was manufactured, what cost involved, whether any compliances have been breached, whether any actions have been taken to damage environment and society. If you know this, you take this. Even sometimes, if you are not ethically grown up, even if you know this information, you may disregard. For example, in developed countries like Europe, Australia, they do not buy some products if they consider that is unethically produced. Unethically produced. What they call ethical products. What is unethical? Unethical in the sense, if you have produced some goods simply damaging the environment, simply bringing some harassments to employees, simply bringing harassment to animals, then you don't buy. But lots of things are there in the production processes. You harass animals, you harass employees, so you do lots of damage to environment. So, but I'm just telling you big story, right? Do not know. But this is where the world is moving towards, and the gap could be easily bridged if IT is going to be implemented in such a manner. Information sharing. So if information is shared well, so there wouldn't be any problem. Even now, the COVID situation, if information is shared about these products, why do we have to be careful of this thing? How much cost is involved? And we are ready to cooperate. We are ready to buy in that price because we know. So this is fair to pay this thing because the value is distributed among those who really contributed. Even in the production process, whenever you go to buy maybe a kilo or maybe 10 kilos of rice or vegetables, fruits and any other things, actually farmers might get 1%, middlemen might get 80% or 50%, but you do not know. If you know, everyone knows, then we can have a healthy debate, democratic debate, and say that finally, actually, cost of production also comes down to great extent. Value also would be distributed fairly. This is the future world. This is the future world. In that future world, IT is going to be a key driver. Key driver. Think of this and read more, then you would learn. But so that is a broader. But sometimes you simply disregard all these things you go to the micro level, operational level, and how best you use e-commerce and cost of production just to maximize your own profit would be at that private level. Private level. I don't say that it should be simple disregard. No, you can touch on or the uses of IT to increase your profitability, other operations, and all these things. But the use of IT is not limited to micro level operations. It crosses the boundaries, goes to a broader area. So that is the lesson. Just wanted to tell you. And the product life cycles, this is also a traditional and the story. Simply it says that in the past, when we take any product, it passes through several stages, right? Introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Then the new product development should be taken into account. So this change in product life cycle strategy can be placed with the circular economy product life cycles. So in that case, so product life cycles would never end, because that product, or once it is going to be ended, it is going to be an input of another. Waste is not going to be a problem for the society, right? So products and services are developed simply based on the needs, right? Based on the needs. So of course the wants are also there, but it is done with consensus, with certain agreements, by sharing information and with understanding, with the knowledge, knowing, not simply the belief. Again, even in the production, societies are changing for knowing societies, not a believing society. If you are in a believing society, you simply go and buy that whose penny that syrup was made by Bandara, right? Dhammika, Dhammika man, right? So you simply you do not know. So therefore, you can understand the grave, like this the big hole we are in. This is the basic structure. Though this is also traditional to understand the competitive environment, taken from so famous scholar called Michael Porter. In strategic management, you may have learned this thing. Maybe in the general management, you may have learned this thing. So it requires to pay attention on key five drivers, forces. So key success factors, that is cost efficiency, quality, time, innovation, that is the internal efficiency, and continuous improvement, and the employee empowerment, and the total value chain analysis. So from Michael Porter's the five forces model, here the customer satisfaction has been analyzed, the importance of the customer. It's still there is a debate. Should we manufacture goods to satisfy customer emotion or something else? Debate is on. The dominant debate argument is that yes, customer is the king. Customer is always right. Customer knows everything. We do not know whether customer takes a rational decision. If customer takes a rational decision, if customer pays attention on environment, if the customer pays or customer is concerned about the ethics, customer is concerned about the society, of course the customer's emotions will not uh, significantly deviate from the rationale. So there would be some convergence of rationale and emotion. Otherwise, there's a tendency that what do you call emotions would decide customer satisfaction or the buying. So therefore, highly in the competitive environment or traditional environment, we may have to focus about customer. But nevertheless, so customer buying behavior pattern and all these things are also changing. You will learn these things in HR management. Um, and nevertheless, in the changing environment, I just told you lots of macro level variables and micro level internal variable. I would like to bring your attention on one area. So within that one area, all these elements can be included, embedded. That particular one area is nothing but the processes, way of organizing things, how your production takes place, right? Process innovation, how things are being done. So the reason, there is a special reason for these things, especially in management accounting. All the other things, suppose that there are thousands and one organization manufacture certain product, maybe COVID vaccine, or any other product, bread, or any other clothes, shirt, garments, thousands and one organizations are manufacturing. What can they do? Material that is available to everyone. If I use a particular material, maybe high, cotton or any other synthetic fabricant, whatever I am going to use, that is also available to other manufacturers. Any material you can't do better than others. Like you can't, there may be some advantages of having your own supplies, but it's freely available to others. Even the technology, you can't hide it, anybody can access. Technology is there, material is there, all the facilities are there, it is there. If you take all these things in a global environment, you can't simply suppress your competitors or other stakeholders from accessing to all those things, but you can be different, or you can stop others from accessing to one area in processes, where the management accounting also can do a significant role. That area is the way of organizing things, what we call in technology ogre way. Ogre way, you have hardware, software, human way, right? Likewise different ways you talked about. This one is called ogre way. Ogre way means way of organizing things. Way of organizing is not documented. There are no hard and fast rules. It depends on your competencies, it depends on your knowledge, it depends on your experience, it depends on your capacity, it depends on your capability. So likewise, they vary from person to person, they vary from organization to organization. So therefore, particular way of organization of production of goods and services in one organization is totally different from other organization. Therefore, if you can organize all these things in such a manner, by minimizing your cost, increasing your efficiency, of course you have highly competitive advantage, you have a very big chance of creating more value. Some organization, even present situation, do that. As I just told you at the very beginning, biggest issue is not how the value is being created, biggest issue is how the created value is being distributed. So if the value created is distributed in a fair manner, and the value is also created in an open and transparent manner by using technology, of course, the production processes, resource utilization, management accounting, value creation would come to a high advanced level that might help the mankind in future. Right. So therefore, within this orgaware, the internal setup, you need to think of continuous improvement and employee empowerment, where employees should be given not simple responsibilities, but they should be held accountable for things. Um, it's not that employees are going to be used for the benefit of handful. Again, the technology, one area you can share technology. On the other hand, technology can actually make employees free to have other work. So as of now, you work 8 hours, now you work 10 hours, 12 hours, maybe 18 hours to for your own existence, survival. But technology can help you to work for 4 hours and enjoy for another 8 hours. If the things can be arranged in that way, and the management accounting would support organization in that way, future would be like that. You work less, you have more time to engage in highly socially important activities, reading books, entertainment, seeing movies, and social discourses. Likewise, it is kind of like utopia, and machines work for us. Machines work for us. Now, I don't know. Even though machines are there, we work more for machines. And value chain analysis already discussed the importance of research and these things. I can skip all these. Finally, when it comes to global practices, there is a need of converging all these things. As I just told you, information has to be shared. We need to be transparent. We are not hiding anything. Then you get what you deserve. You can't cheat others. As of now, you cheat others. You don't work, you get big, right? You get something you are not deserve, right? Those who deserve do not get what they deserve. So it's so future world or would be something like this. Therefore, management accounting can or management accounting practices can fulfill all those roles by considering taken into account all these behavioral aspects, behavioral pattern, social aspects, environment aspects into the practice. That would be a new world order from positive and the optimistic point of view. Um, so thereby, all those things would change in future. Global competition, information technology, all those things um, would change in future, as I just told you. And these are some traditional functions. So quickly, I'll go through this in maybe 10 minutes. Up to now, most of the things were explained from a broader perspective. Now I again go back to micro perspective within an organization. What can management accountants do? What would be the roles of management accounting, right? So what would be the functions of management accounting? So finally, it would be decision making. How are we going to make decisions? Decision making would depend on information. So therefore, management accounting provides information for decision making within the organization. What kind of decisions? There could be many. There could be any type of decision, but for the purposes our learning objectives are concerned, we limit it to selected decision making. One is relevant information for the managers to take a profitability analysis, right? Customer profitability analysis, product profitability analysis. Because finally they are become drivers of the value. If you manufacture something which is not profitable, not value is created, finally that would be a value destruction. At the end of the day, whatever it is, what is said and done, if value is not created, that the value is the profit actually not created, you there is no growth. Then finally pricing. This pricing, as I just told you, we need to deviate from management accounting perspective from the traditional pricing to new pricing. We are transparent pricing. Then make or buy decision. Sometimes you might have to take a decision to make within your company or sometimes. So this is also done with understanding, not through the what you call unnecessary fierce competition by killing your competition. No, it is through understanding. Sometimes in the past, maybe a couple of decades ago, some big companies, giant conglomerates engage in buying decision, totally unethical buying to kill other corporations. So if other corporations produce something and try to reach to customers, you buy them and destroy. You do it sometimes. So in beverage industry, we have heard about sometimes you buy and destroy. Sometimes they crush. So there was one allegation. I don't remember whether it was Coca-Cola or Pepsi Cola. They bought by that time they used glass bottles. They bought all the glass bottles, collected all the glass bottles of your competitor and destroyed, and claim that that is a strategy. It was, but to what extent was that ethical? But here we do not talk about that. So we say that So if it is profitable to buy, you buy. If it is profitable to make, you make it. We will discuss. Then the product mix and discontinuation. Sometimes you may have to discontinue some production. There's no use. Then you can buy it from outside, or you can import. You can simply disregard that, like do away with that product. Again, you need to maintain product mix. So some products go as bundles. Some complementary products are also there. If that is the case, the second product may be making a loss, but you have still manufacture. Why? The first product will give you a profit. So what we call product mixing, when the products go as bundle or complementary or independent products, but you can have a mix after considering all the constraint factors, your raw materials availability, expertise, labor availability, technology that you have. Accordingly, you decide, okay, this is my product mix. These things are gone. These things are presently available. These things would come in future, and this is how I am going to renew and introduce continuous product development process. And information sharing already I discussed, and therefore finally, traditional planning and controlling cycle steps, as I just told you, your objective, collecting information, and all these things can be supported by management accountants. Why? Management accountants provide information. So in management accounting, the key is information. What information? Quality information, unbiased information, transparent information, material information, relevant information, then and verifiable information. Therefore, if you can do that in such a manner, the supply chain transparent manner, so the planning and controlling and decision making processes in organization in new world order would be much better and create more value in a sustainable way. So specific areas where we need to deal with budgets and performance appraisal and analysis, capital budgeting and all those things we will be discussing in future. This is a brief history. I'll just show you up to a certain point, up to 1975. After that period, you better just search. Prior to 1800, small businesses, mainly family, small individual-based businesses operated. Sometimes maybe Adam Smith may have referred to these family-oriented businesses and thought of development to a perfectly competitive environment. But nevertheless, they manufactured goods in such a manner at a relatively low cost and serve the general public. After the Industrial Revolution, and there are some before 1800, there is an impact of the agricultural revolution as well for the production processes. So that is not that much discussed in management accounting due to lack of information, and so we could not trace information about the management accounting. But they had certain practices, ways of data collection, ways of decision making, ways of sharing information. They had a certain mechanism, but we could not categorically identify them as separate practices. So, but we were able to identify some practices after Industrial Revolution. So where the organizations were formed into large conglomerates, production force processes, formal what you call responsibility assigning, all these things were seen. Then 1825 to 1925, management accounting techniques were fine-tuned. Some of the basic management accounting techniques, maybe operational research, things like that, they were fine-tuned. Those fine-tuned techniques were further enhanced during 25 to 75, and especially immediately after the Second World War. Lots of improvements were brought into management accounting practices from the experiences that they gathered by involving in war. Because war matters, warfares push any party or those who engage in the battles to do two things, mainly two things. That is, one is to achieve the biggest possible outcome from the best available information. Mm. Biggest possible outcome from the available resources. That is what we call the productivity. This is how the productivity emerge. The other one, they try to get or achieve specific target with the minimal use of resources. Killing or destroying enemy camps, 10 camps, by firing 10 rounds of bullets, or by firing 5 together, or maybe one, do not know. So your target is 10, destroy 10 with minimum resources. That is how the emergence or the birth for the concept called efficiency came. So therefore, during that particular period, these two things also came into management accounting practices, efficiency and productivity. So after 1975, of course, new world order, changes in technology, globalization, especially the political aspect is also there that is not mentioned. That is what we call neoliberal economic policies. Also change the world order until 1970s, especially 75 to 1940s to 70s. World political order, economic order were arranged through, that is, capitalism, but to some extent, government or the state played a bigger role. After 1975, with the introduction of neoliberal economic policies, government also played a role, but that particular role always favored handful of businesses, and production process production of goods and services simply crowd out into the society, and they started commodifying everything in the society, commodify social values, commodify environment, commodify tradition, commodify civil rights, commodify education, commodify health. Likewise, there are lots of nice stories within which finally, so now manufacturing or management accounting takes place in a neoliberal economic setup. It has so many big issues, but just to get a glimpse or the glance of historical moment, we have not further analyzed. If we want, we can collect more information for your own knowledge and decalibrate into different section. Of course, from 1975, we have to think of, because now, especially with this glass technology and huge jumps in technology, uh, management accounting practices would change. That is what we were talking. So I hope that the idea is clear to you. And if you read today itself, your manual and maybe additional material from the internet, even now you can key to the Google and find something. May read it, maybe 1 hour, 2 hour. You know something, then like you better develop a kind of mind mapping to understand this management accounting. This understanding would really lay a very good foundation, very strong foundation for you to learn management accounting in this particular course. So learning of management accounting will never end with this particular course, and it would really provide a better or strong foundation. If you have any question now, you can ask. So I would try to just engage with you and facilitate you to think of different way of understanding this, or how best the management accounting can be used for creating value in a democratic and ethical manner in society. Do not know, because I will not be the lecturer for all the sessions for sure, since there are lots of lecturers, but as much as possible, I engage with you, I discuss. No matter who teaches you, always be critical. Don't believe in me. Believe in information. Believe in knowledge. Believe in knowing. Be susceptible and ask questions. Then, so those are open for you to improve your learning. So that's all I have to tell you today. Anyway, I took long time. You must be tired. I'm also tired a little bit. No worries. I'm used to talking a lot. But if you have any question, now you can ask. Any question? Right. If there are no questions, it seems that there are no questions. Silence implies that no question. Even if you have some question, but anyway, you can drop me mails, but I do not guarantee that I would quickly reply to you because of my busy schedule. But you can freely drop and see me. I'm available in the new faculty building, fourth floor. My room number is 414. The name appears in my room is not my name, Mr. Ratnasekar. So his name. Then you can drop me. So drop by my room, and we I can help you if you have any question. Okay. Thank you very much for listening and being with me for today's first interactive lecture. So most probably, yeah, probably next week. Of course, yeah, there is a request from one of your students just to give your singular summary. Of course, I'll just spend a couple of minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes to give your summary in singular next week. Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend. Enjoy. Bye-bye.